Welcome back to Fox and Friends First. Well, Clinton's campaign promising to build an economy that works for everyone.
But which candidate will actually put the most money in your wallet? Here to weigh in, political strategist Morgan Ortagus. Thank you for joining us again, Morgan.
Good morning.
Love having you here. Well, let's take a look right now at Trump's tax plan compared to Clinton's tax plan. Now, under Trump's plan, Americans making $20,000 a year or more would see more money in their paychecks. Under Hillary Clinton's economic plan, we can take a look at that. Americans making $55,000 or more would see less money in their paychecks. So compare and contrast the two for us.
Well, I think one of the main things to know is that Donald Trump recently is actually coming out with a new revised tax plan because he wanted to focus his tax plan a bit more on growth, but also on spending. So that's one of the things where we have to be careful as Republicans when we cut taxes. We have to also make sure that we have a detailed plan for what we're going to do for our enormous national debt that we're leaving for generations to pay off. It's quite a significant issue. What's really positive about Trump's new tax plan is he's taking the corporate tax rate down to 15%. This is what most businesses and what most corporations say really hampers job growth. What hampers them from creating more middle-class jobs is a tax rate that unincentivizes them to stay in the U.S. and to create more jobs here.
All right, so let's look at Trump's plan for Wall Street compared to Clinton's. What Trump wants to do is overhaul or come close to dismantling Dodd-Frank. He wants to address separation between commercial banking activities from investment banking. Hillary Clinton, she wants to keep Dodd-Frank, fight for tough rules that go beyond Dodd-Frank, downsize financial institutions that are too large to be managed effectively. Morgan, how should we be thinking about these two?
Well, one of the interesting things about this election that's kind of blowing everyone's mind is you actually have the Democrat candidate who's been much closer to Wall Street than the Republican candidate.
And her running mate.
Of course, Hillary Clinton. Absolutely. Hillary Clinton has changed her tune. She's taken record amount of donations from Wall Street. But with Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren's push to continue to regulate Wall Street, Hillary Clinton has taken on that policy proposal. What's interesting about Trump is although that he said he is wanting to get rid of Dodd-Frank, he has had tough words for bankers and has said that they're essentially hedge fund managers especially are not going to get a free pass in his administration. I think Trump is very cognizant that his base, the working class Americans, were wiped out in 2008 from the financial crisis. So I think he wants to make sure that he has a tax plan and a Wall Street plan that of course incentivizes growth, but he doesn't want to do things that overly regulate small businesses. If you think about your local community banks, those are the kinds of things that end up. The big banks can take on this regulation like Dodd-Frank. They can fight it. They can hire tons of lawyers to deal with it. The small community banks really don't have the ability to do that, and so that's what our candidates need to be
Morgan,
looking at.
we want to try to get this in quickly, though, because the minimum wage, Bernie Sanders brought it up in his speech. Let's compare Trump's plan, where he does not support a federal minimum wage hike. He says individual states should decide instead. And then you have Clinton's plan to raise the minimum wage to $12, $15 in some areas, and phase in $15 wage gradually and use New York State as a model. So compare these for us. What works?
Well, this is the classic Democrat and Republican stance on an economic issue. Hillary wants the federal government to tell everybody from Topeka, Los Angeles, to Atlanta, Georgia, how much money the minimum wage should be. Trump is looking at it from a classic conservative perspective, that he wants the states to decide the appropriate minimum wage for the cost of living in their state.
You know, it's so important for people to understand the differences in their economic plans, because it could come down to the economy. All right, Morgan Ortagus, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.